You're explaining your process, your steps, your system, and your prospects still aren't buying. It's not because they don't understand you, it's because they don't care yet. Most business owners are selling how they do things, when the buyer is still trying to figure out what result they're going to get from you. That gap, that's where deals die. Hey everyone, this is Chris with I.D.E.A Cleveland on the marketing side of this conversation.
And I'm Vic Ing, and I'm the sales guy, and I'm proud of it, Chris.
He's proud of it in this video. Today, we're breaking down one of the biggest messaging mistakes we see. Business owners selling the process instead of the solution. So now you're probably sitting there going, what do you mean by selling the process? So at the end of the day, there's this saying about, you don't buy a drill, you're buying a device that actually makes a hole. The hole is what you actually want. So let's use financial advisors, for example. They toss out all this jargon and buzzwords. They're like, oh, a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, 401k, all this stuff, and blah, 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 and Bitcoin. At the end of the day, everyone sits in front of them. They don't care about any of those tactics. They care about one thing, and that's, will I have the money I need when I retire? But if all you're doing is selling all these tactics and processes that you do that makes your business actually run, you lose people, because that's not what they're there for. They're there for the end result.
I love that. So sounds like you paused, so I get to fill the gap with my words. But here's a thought. So I heard somebody say the other day, I'm going to paraphrase without revealing what industry or anything, because it's universal. But they literally looked me in the eye and said, what I bring to my customers is the peace of mind, so they don't have to worry about what it is I do. Then they got mad, like 3 sentences later in this conversation, that their clients don't care about the details that they find so sexy and attractive about their industry. And I had to go, but wait a minute. You're frustrated because you're trying to maybe upsell them or get them to buy into a concept like the Roth IRA versus whatever. You already lost me. And but the fact is, isn't that what you bring, Chris? Like, every business brings that peace of mind so they don't have to worry about it. So why do we get so hung up on ourselves often, as business owners, salespeople? And I know it's because we're proud of what we do and we want everybody to recognize our awesomeness and greatness. But we're supposed to be, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't know how it works. Enjoy the sausage. That's how it's made.
No, I think what happens is, this is really a problem if you build a business around what you're great at. So if you are the IT guy that built an IT company, if you're the brand person or the website designer that decided to build a website designing company, you think all the minutia and jargon in your world is something that we care about. At the end of the day, that's nerd stuff for you, and we don't care. We don't care how I can send an email and magically it gets to Vic. At the end of the day, I don't even care how that happens. I just know that when I sit down at my computer and I'm able to do that, and it is accomplished. And when it doesn't happen, I don't need to hear the jargon of the problem. I just need it fixed.
How'd you know I was talking about an IT guy?
But what happens is IT people, they get into the nerdiness of it all. And then you go, I don't need to know any of this. And they're like, oh, I thought you might find it interesting. No, if I found it interesting, I'd work in IT. And I think sometimes people that are so knee deep into their business, they forget that we don't care about what they do. We only care about the solution and what they're going to do for us.
Yeah. So you're describing in my vernacular, as I break down things in sales, it's the differentiator. It's the what you do and why you're better than the alternative, which isn't always, by the way, the competitors. Most of our biggest competition, we could do a whole episode on this, Chris, is the do-it-yourselfers, especially in this day and age with AI. So your competition is that. And but we want to sound smart, but we're also very passionate about what we do. But at the end of the day, think, we picked on IT, and yeah, it was an IT person I was thinking of, because that's easy. But let's just go to, your ubiquitous car salesperson who wants to pop the hood and talk about, I don't even know the language to go with, but they're going to talk. And here's what you want is problem. You have no car. You go to work. You push pedal, car, go. Like, dumb it down. That's it. I don't care about the rest. But as I tell my clients in any field, and it isn't IT, I can think of my craftsman type people who especially are prone to this, that when you get an opportunity to nerd out about materials and methodology, and back to what this is about, we started, which is about process and how the sausage is made. Boy, have fun with it. Spend the whole afternoon with them if you want and nerd out, because the next 8 customers don't care. And I beg you to remember that. Please, I beg you. I pray. Remember that they don't care. But you should fish for things. See if they care. Do you care about the shingle type on your roof? Says the roofer. And the answer is, shingle type what? Then move on. But if they're like, yeah, actually, I went down a rabbit hole last night and read all about it, have at it.
Yes. But here's the thing, Vic. We have to go back to your ICP. Because let's say I sold classic muscle cars.
Mm-hmm.
Every person that came in there, I can nerd out about the muscle car.
You have to. It's required.
It's required. But here's the thing. If I'm selling minivans to PTA moms, they don't care about that. Maybe they care about the safety,
yes,
the features for the kids in the back. Know who you're speaking to. So when we're saying these things, like we're making fun of the IT guy, but let's say the IT guy is an extra arm onto an internal IT division of a company. His ideal customer and the person he's talking to does want to know the nerdiness of it. We call it nerdiness, but they want to know the final details. They can talk the jargon. They can actually work that out. So it isn't that we're saying that nobody cares about what you have to do. You have to think about what does your ICP care about, and that's what you should be talking about.
And we're doing it, by the way. We complained about our IRAs. ICP stands for Ideal Client Profile, everybody. We don't want to get into nerd speak of sales and marketing, but it's simply knowing, as Chris adequately explained, very well explained, that it is knowing who you're selling to. And boy, this is so far upstream in my river of revenue dollars that if you don't know that, the river doesn't flow full of money down your way. Because now you are back to what we talk about a lot, selling to everyone, which good luck with that, because who has time, or selling the wrong things to the wrong person, which is the classic reason why sales fail, is it was a mismatch of needs. So yeah, muscle car person wanders into your lot, and you wanted them in there, then you are still going to ask some questions because you have to separate. What do they care about? Performance? Power? I don't know the words. Torque? I don't know. These are words I've heard. But whatever it is, you're going to narrow it down, and you're going to it's still the same conversation, Chris. They don't get away with nerding out on whatever they think is worth nerding out about. And we're going to stick with the nerd word because we're all nerds for our business. But you see, am I making sense? They have to go to that narrow niche, and you have to hit the ball. I actually have a ping pong paddle around here that I need to bring out. But you got to keep hitting the ball and saying, are you sure you don't care about this? No, I don't care about that. You care about this? Yeah, a little bit about that. Right? So
I have this thing where I always say, that's easy. Someone comes to me with what a complex problem is, and for YouTube or editing a video, I'm like, that's easy. We got that handled. And my wife always goes, you shouldn't tell people it's easy. But in my head, I'm like, it is easy. I understand it's not easy for you on the other side.
Yes.
But I also, so then do I say that it's complex? I feel like if I'm saying it's complex, I'm not giving the idea that I'm confident in what I can do. So I'm always playing around with that. I'm like, do I say it's easy? Do I say it's complex? Will make it easy? Or what's the answer?
I worked this out for you through trial and error.
Perfect.
Over 35 years of selling, including my retail time. It's almost 40 years when I look at the clock, Chris, starting as a teenager, selling. Like, I'm at 40 years. I got some stuff here in this head. All right, but you are struggling because all you should be saying is, I'm just going to tell you, but you know this. I could use my Yoda voice because it was inside you all the time. Hey, that's no different than a problem we have solved for many customers just like you. Here's what their problem looked like. Does that sound right? You knew that. So by saying it's simple, you're really saying This is not my first rodeo. So there's a million ways to say this. That's what you say, Chris. Sorry to just tell you what to say, but you were kind of
asking. No, that's what we're here for. You're supposed to be telling me and the listeners and the viewers what we're supposed to be doing. We're here to help you solve problems, right?
That's it. And then the complexity is there are other ways you could tackle this, and that might be complex. That might be difficult. You could do it yourself. I tell my clients all the time, you can do everything that I will do for you. It's just going to be a longer road. How much time and money do you got?
Right. Yes. I think the other problem is when you start talking about your back-end processes, you expect your ideal client to start connecting the dots and understanding how it actually is going to work for them. Whereas if you were the consultant side of the sales and having that conversation and you tell them how you're connecting these dots, and basically we've done this many times with other companies and this is how it worked out. That's what's so important about that ping pong thing that you always talk about, is because if you're listening to the person on the other side of that table, you can actually but you can share with them why you have a product that can solve their problems.
Yeah, so let's solve what you started at the outset, because I think your the way you opened this, I'm looking for a fancy word for what you said, but the way you opened this is people don't care about your process. Really what we're saying is people don't care about the nerdiness. They don't care about everything that you think you care about. But like EOS and other systems will tell us that you should have a process that works so well that you can demonstrate, as I shared, like we've helped other clients, here's how, that it's so well thought out that you can put it on your website. So we don't want to take that away from people, Chris, right? That the process should be something that you just advertise. But there's a difference between doing that and then sitting down and making it sound like I'm going to put you into this whatever, a car, and it's a roller coaster ride, and I'm just going to push you off, and you're just doing it. Because that's maybe what it feels like when it's 6 steps. And they're going, I don't even know if I want to go through the first step. Why are you telling me about the 6th step? So that's the contradiction, right, Chris? Like, how do we solve for that? Having a process, but not making it all about the process.
Thank you. I did not know the answer to that.
Oh, was that the answer? I was making it a question.
Yeah, you did make it a question and then an answer. I was like, oh, wait, is that the answer? So what's something for us to be self-aware, Vic, and be like, I'm unsure if this is how I'm actually going about things, but how do we actually become self-aware that we're losing people in these discovery conversations by just going off on these tangents that the person on the other side, you think they're caring, but they're really not caring? How do we rein ourselves in?
Boy, I have a really easy response to that, but I found that it sounds like what you said before, that it's easy, but you have to back it up with data. And here's some data. I learned a long time ago, and I'm sorry I've invoked twice now the old man persona. I don't mean to do that because nobody cares about my experience. But I found myself walking out of meetings going, I didn't sell. I didn't do what my boss told me to do. I didn't get out the slide deck. I didn't, right? And I started to go, because the nature of who I am is that reverse engineer looking for patterns, which is why I'm able to do what I do today across industries, was like, what's happening here? Why did that formula break that I was told was the formula, right? The Kirby salesperson selling the vacuum in your living room follows that script. And it's like, and it's back to what you said. We've always done it that way. You shared something and it works. So what is broken here? And the simple answer is there's 2 ways to get there. You could stand up and talk and lose people and hope that they're going to retain enough to go, I'm going to give you my money, or you can make it interactive. So the simple answer was, don't do what I just did and do exposition. This is not Hamlet is it Hamlet that said to be or not to be? This is not that when you're in sales, whatever. Sorry, Shakespeareans. But whatever it is, you are hitting the ball. You are asking questions. You are in total control of the conversation when you ask the right questions. So, hey, Chris, pain that you're having, is it real pain? And I'm just doing generics instead of saying what it could be. How is that pain? Pain, pain, pain? Big pain? Pain. Then you go, life without the pain. How's life without the pain? Life good without the pain? And you just keep, peppering questions. And then at the only time you get into the sales and the exposition is, at the end when you go, wow, your story sounds so much like the last 8 people I helped. And let me tell you a little bit about that. That's the closest you should get to sales. So in summary, the answer is you just let them talk an equal amount, and then you control the conversation. I don't know. Am I onto something here, Chris?
No, I love that. So I came from a background where I never had to do sales. Never. And then all of a sudden I was crazy and decided to start my own business. And then I got propelled into this whole sales world. And at the beginning, I would have sales conversations. They weren't conversations. It was me spewing out as much as I physically could in a half hour at somebody and overwhelming them.
How'd that work?
And now my whole sales thing is a conversation. No, it's not even a conversation. I basically am doing a podcast interview with people and asking them a series of questions. I'm taking notes. Sometimes it's mental, sometimes it's on the paper. And then once they're done, as you say, I wrap it all up and be like, this sounds so similar to this client that I already work with. They had this same pain point. We did these processes, and today they are here. I think we could do the same thing for you if we work together. And that's it.
It's that easy. And then we talked about this before in a different podcast. That's when then your process comes back. So nobody cares about your process. However, it's okay to say things like, should you want to move along, Chris, here would be the next step. And I share often my rules of the funnel. Rules of the funnel are you don't skip steps. Don't take the bait when somebody's like, but I want to give you my money now without you doing the due diligence about my business. Yeah, that's going to end badly. And the other rule of the funnel is the goal of each step is only the next step. So you're managing your own expectations by not getting excited and going, I got it, boss, is what every salesperson learns the hard way not to tell their sales manager. And don't tell yourself that, right? So that ends with, here's what we would do next. Are you up for that? Because chances are whatever that next thing is not, and I say this a lot to be crass, it's not give me your money, because you're not quite there yet, right? So
yes, there's further conversation, but at the end of that, I can judge, is it worth having another meeting, or is it the end?
That's it.
And some people think it's odd because I can have one meeting with somebody and say, they're not an ideal client, I'm just going to follow them on LinkedIn, whatever, I'll see them in networking, I'm cool with it. There's other person I'm like, all right, cool, let's set up another meeting. Let's take this thing deeper. And I'm okay with that. Because if I'm spending all this time with these people that I know aren't going to buy what I have to offer, what's the point of continuing down? And this can happen at any stage. At that first stage, I also declare price because I have one price. Based off the reaction of the price, I know that no matter what I do, I can or cannot get them to sign on the dotted line. If my price point goes, oh, I can't do that. Okay, cool. See you at the next networking event. I'm not going to spend any more time on you. And that right there, I think a lot of people think you're going to convince them. No, I'm going to convince them. What I have to offer is going to change their business so much. You could sit there until you're blue in the face, and if you don't open up your eyes to reality that they're never going to sign with you, not in their current state, you actually pushing them actually makes them more uncomfortable with you, is not helping. It's not helping the situation. It's wasting your time. It's wasting your effort. You could be doing so much more. And you're ruining a relationship with a future prospect. Just because they can't afford you today doesn't mean they can't afford you tomorrow.
Well, and you triggered something that we need to address. Some businesses like yours could close something in that first meeting for lots of reasons. By the way,
I've done it in 15 minutes. I met somebody and closed the deal and we walked away and it was great.
That's it. And what's happening at the very top of the funnel when you break it down is you've pre-qualified. You're not wasting your time or their time. It's somebody who already wants and needs your services. Okay. But let's talk for a second about the people, and I've lived in this world a lot, of where you have a 4-year sales cycle. And it just is what it is. But what's happening is that sales funnel, and I've mapped it out for clients, it has 8 steps, 12 steps, and all you're doing is still my rules of the funnel. You're moving them along. And the ones who can't envision that and map it out, the companies and organizations, never get that. They get the ones that are lucky. They get the ones that are on price. All the things that they fear anyway. And they end up doing that, self-fulfilling prophecy. But, you know, when I remember one deal going into my office and early in my career, and now I could have done it in 3 years. But I remember putting 4 years, 4 months, and 4 days because I did the math, and it was like, I don't know if I exaggerated a few days, but it like pretty much came out to that. And I thought it was funny that it took that long. But the fact is, it didn't really take that long. The cumulative hours of talking to that client were minutes, hours in length. But it was just like moving it along slowly because of the nature of that business or the timing. And again, we talk about that a lot. So let's go there. Like, it's all about the follow-up. No, it's not. Because if you're following up on somebody who's never, ever going to be a client. Yeah, but Vic, I did that and it worked. They changed. You chased them for so long, they became somebody else. They became your ideal client. So, you know, it's not about the follow-up, but it is, right? Follow-up's necessary, but it's all about moving to the next step. So does that make sense, right? Am I crazy?
1,000%.
I'm crazy.
Well, you're crazy, but not about this.
They're not mutually exclusive. I love this, and I think, and I love that you love marketing, and I love sales, and I admire marketing, and you admire sales. And sometimes we hate marketing and sales together, collectively, but it's necessary. Is this a necessary evil? Can the world function without sales and marketing, Chris? Let's get philosophical.
Let's cover that in the next one.
Oh, darn, foiled again.
All right, well, thanks so much for tuning into this video, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.